So today I am going to teach you how to make your very modern tent look a bit more immersive. This is a very affordable thing that you can do if you want your tent to look a little less modern and don't have the dough to really go out and buy a $500 to $1,500 tent that's really immersive. I definitely did this on a budget. First of all, I went on to Gumtree, which is very similar to like a Craigslist in the States, and got a used green tent for $20. And then I went to a Army surplus store and got this really cool camo netting. So this is already all made up, so just ignore that. So here's what the netting itself looks like. Now this is normally used, I think, by hunters to create little camouflaged areas or something. So I got that for about $50. You could probably find one used, look on eBay, AliExpress, or if you could find a company that just sold this fabric by the yard or meter, I think you'd probably be really winning at life. It is a kind of a light plasticky, it actually reminds me of the material that tents are made out of themselves. The good thing about this is it has green on one side and brown on the other, so depending on what you want to do. The leaves don't come on it, but I'll get to that in a minute. So just one of those, and what I did was I actually measured out my tent cover, because mine has a little cover that goes over it for when it rains and that sort of thing, and then tried to find something that was approximately that size. Get it a little bigger if you need. And then I went on eBay and I got a whole bunch of fake flowers, which you can see here, and vines, plastic vines, just like that. Yeah, basically what I'll do is I'll actually show you on the ground how I started attaching them. And because I'm filming this after it's been made due to some technical issues with the original video, I can tell you, even though I'll say to weave it, I didn't actually end up weaving it a lot. It was a bit quicker to just put it through occasionally and then just glue it, and it stuck on really well. So yeah, that's all you need. So let's get to showing you how to make it and how it actually looks. Here we go. Welcome to my floor. Very exciting. So what I've done is I've laid this out and I've got the longer edge along one side. And this is going to be the entrance to my tent. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to cover it with flowers and vines. So the entrance to my tent has a lot. And then what I'll do is I'll try and put kind of throughout lots of flowers and things like that. So I've got my trusty chocobo looking scissors, and because some of these have come on these vines like this, I'm just going to go right where it stops being metal so I don't ruin my scissors, and chop off some of the vines. You can do this cascading thing. It's a little quicker, I guess, but I want to have more control over my vines and where I want them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by gluing. Now, don't ruin your floor. So I've got a piece of junk mail over here that I'm using to set the stuff on. I'm going to put the edge of the flowers or the leaves coming off the edge here, and I'm just going to glue that down with a little bit of hot glue. Test this first, because your hot glue gun might be really extra hot and it might melt depending on what kind of material. So just make sure that it just sticks on there really nicely. Now, I did this where I just kind of weaved it in and out, which I'm still going to do, but I'm going to glue it into place as well. And I found that a lot of it went flying, and then I felt like I was being bad to the environment unintentionally by losing flowers. So this time around, I'm definitely going to be attaching them. So perfect, just kind of making that edge look a little more, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just kind of weaving it throughout. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to glue some of those bits. So you could almost do all the weaving, which is probably what I'll do off camera, because nobody wants to see me sit here for an hour doing this. So just kind of weaving throughout and then going back with the hot glue gun and just gluing in a few places to really make it stand out so you can really see the leaves and that sort of stuff, and to cover up the kind of raw edge here. So we'll keep doing that around the outside to create that nice vine. And then what I'll do is I might actually do those vines if I've got enough all the way around all the edges, and then I'll use the more floral things for the next step. And then the next step is going to be, again, I'm going to cut them off of here so I can really utilize every single vine. And I'll find the very middle by folding in half and folding in half again, and I'll kind of mark that as the very tip, and I'm going to glue things going from that down. And to cover that middle bit, I will probably use one of these roses or something, depending on how it looks, so that when you're looking at the tent, it's all got that kind of green look. P.S. If you find these are too expensive or you can't find an affordable one near you, you can always get kind of like a dark green material and sponge. I would do a really light, like as close to a netting sort of material as you can get, but one that's cotton. It will take some dye, and I would take paint and dilute it down a little bit and then just kind of stamp on there to give it a texture. Or if you could find one that has a texture that doesn't look too like fake camo-y, you basically just want it to kind of have that green shrubbery sort of look, and then I would just add extra accents onto it, but this is preferable. The other good thing about this is it breathes really well. You know, you've got windows and things like that, you can still see out, and it actually, the way the sunlight comes through, it actually does look a little bit like you're under a canopy. So I actually really enjoyed it, having it. So I've done this before, I'm just making it more permanent. So what I'll do is I'm going to put on a movie, Stardust, I've just decided. I'm going to put on Stardust, and I'm going to be weaving and gluing. It's the best way to do it. Just put something on, put some music on, distract yourself, you know, watch some YouTube, do whatever you like, and then through some movie magic. Okay, it's just filming there. What I'll do is I'll actually then show you my tent all set up at the camp in a couple days, and I'll show you how this turned out. See you in a blink of an eye for you, but 2 days for me. Okay, so it took all of Stardust to do this, and I've just thrown it on the car to kind of see how it looks when it sits, because I didn't want to set up the tent. I'm loving the edge, so some little tips and tricks here. Don't glue down every single leaf. It sticks pretty well, so yeah, save yourself some time. And the loose ones actually give it a lot more depth, where if they're all glued down they look really flat, but one here and there is perfectly fine. So, and they stick really well, so it was a big effort, but to be honest, I'm only going to have to do it once, so I'm pretty happy. Now my flowers on the top here obviously leave a lot to be desired, but I have heaps more, so I was just trying to think if I wanted more to come down in like different spots, but my tent is a dome tent, so what I'll do is along these little strips of flowers here, I'll just continue them down closer to the edges, and that should be good. So there you have it. Thanks. Perfect. So I've set up my tent, and nobody wants to watch anyone do that, so it's already done. And this is what I made that I've already showed you how to do. And I've just added some roses near the front to add a little more flavor. So I'm just going to throw that over the top of my existing tent. Cool. So then I just kind of like shuffle it around a little. I was hoping I'd be so cool and it'd be done perfect the first time. Not so lucky. Cool, and my tent actually has little buckles that hold the top on, so I just actually take the buckles off and put it through so this doesn't come off. If you don't have that, you can bring some string or anything else to kind of adhere it, otherwise it's just going to float right off. Perfect! Da-da-da-da, that's it! So basically it's cost me $20 for the tent second hand, about $50 for the netting, and $10 worth of fake flowers off of eBay. And while it's not perfect, and there are some really
immersive tents you can get. They tend to be around $500 to $1,000 here in Australia, so this is a lot more affordable and it is a bit better than just a modern tent. So hopefully you found this helpful. Make sure to subscribe and stuff, I guess.